G'day everybody, welcome to What's for Lunch. I'm Frankie Massica, parenting support worker, and we are back in the kitchen.
Welcome back everybody. I'm Chantal Haddad, and we have a very special guest here with us for a few weeks, Miss Trudy Jacobs.
Hi everyone.
She's going to be showing us some community favorites. So I'm really excited to, just try different things, and we're going to be learning from Trudy. So Frank, you want to show us what's in the kits this week?
Everybody who's registered for the program receives a free kit of ingredients, and what they're going to be getting this week is they're going to be getting oats, they're going to be getting some cornmeal, there is some corn masa, and a can of red kidney beans. And I think it's important, right, Trudy, that they're red for your recipe?
Yeah, there are white kidney beans, but we use red kidney beans.
And they're going to be getting a pack of brown gravy. This was something that Trudy requested. So, but feel free to make whatever gravy you want to have with your cornbread. So that's exactly what everybody's going to be getting, and I guess we're ready to start. Okay,
so if you haven't figured it out, today we will be making cornbread. It's usually done either with sausages or steak, and that's where I get my gravy from the drippings from the steak to make a beef gravy. But we're not making steak today, so this is why we have included an instant packet of gravy. Not my idea of gravy, but anyway, it serves in a pinch, right?
That's right.
So Chantal will be going right along with me just to show the ease of making cornbread. People are scared to even try making cornbread. They aren't sure. It's so easy. All we need are these three ingredients, equal amounts, whether it's a quarter cup, a third cup, half cup, full cup, 2 cups. So long as those three dry ingredients are equal amounts, you've got your cornbread base. Then you add...
That's easy.
Yeah, a teaspoon per cup. So the measurements that we have today are a half cup of the dry ingredients, so it's a half teaspoon of salt. So let's get started. We will be putting in the masa in our bowls. So I have the masa.
So that's corn flour basically, right?
Yes. We have the cornmeal and the oats. And it's important that it's the quick oats, not the old steel cut oats, because that takes very long to cook. Okay, and then we're going to add our salt and just give it a quick mix so that the dry ingredients are incorporated into each other. You don't have lumps of oatmeal and lumps of flour anywhere. It's all mixed together. So once that's done, we are going straight to, remember to put a boiling pot of water on before you start all this process, because when you add the water to your cornbread, it must be boiling. So here we go.
She makes it look so easy.
Take that. I don't want you to get burnt. Okay, so as you, and I always have to have my towel. You're going to add a little bit of water at a time. You don't want to put too much because your cornbread will fall apart. So you mix. As you can see, it needs more water.
Smells good.
You smell that corn, right?
I love it.
So I think that this might be the part that people are afraid of, right? Is either adding too much water,
and it falls apart, and it's too dry. Forget it. You don't want to eat it.
So what would give them like a trick to know when enough water has been poured in there? Or
you're gonna see it all come together, because you can see it coming together now, but see how I still have like dry ingredients. So it needs more water.
This is good.
No, we need more, Chantal, more water.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm gonna add, because I'm getting close, I don't add as much. I add even less each time. So here it is, almost coming together.
So you get to learn to judge the amount.
Yeah.
Be careful, I have hot water here.
Especially Trudy,
see,
I have to share. Trudy doesn't need a measuring cup. She just eyeballs everything, and she knows exactly how much water to pour, how to turn and mix things. And
okay, now I did this purposely. See how it's wet? Mm-hmm. Okay,
it's too much?
Too wet? take your,
I'll get you the open one if you
oh, the open one? Okay, what you're gonna do, if you make that mistake, is just add a little bit of your cornmeal, okay?
So you need
So, yeah. So, it's always easy to fix. Don't be afraid, don't be, oh my God, I made this wrong. Just add a little. You saw how much I put in there? Not much. It's just enough to get it to come together. So
how is this,
you'll,
Ruby? Sorry.
okay, see how Chantel has all these little balls? It has not come together yet. She needs to add a little bit more water. So you can see how mine has come together, and it becomes hard to stir.
like very
So
sticky.
see, I went around once. It makes one ball. So you know it's ready.
Okay.
Okay? So how you doing there, Chantel? Add a little bit more water?
A little
Yeah?
bit more water.
Yeah.
So I guess it's better to go in a really slow, gradual step,
Right.
than to rush through it.
Yeah, don't get a whole cup of water and pour it in. You're gonna be,
It will work.
you'll be in the weeds.
Oh, I think it's
A little bit more. No, I still see dry.
a little bit.
Yeah, we need a little bit more. Okay. See how you're turning it now and it's getting harder to
It's
turn?
just in one big chunk.
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
more. Still a little dry, not much, just a tiny bit more. Because I can still see it's dry. Okay,
It's
now.
funny, you know what? It kind of reminds me of cookie dough. When you make homemade cookie
Yeah.
dough, it does the same thing. It doesn't end up being very loose and liquidy. It's kind of stuck together and clumped.
Yeah,
And
But it's much heavier and thicker
Yes,
than
yes.
the cookie dough.
you're
It's good.
perfect. Yep.
All right.
So now the kidney beans, what you want to do is drain them and rinse them in water. So we have these cute little colander bowls. So we just add our beans and mix together. There goes my towel.
so are kidney beans an essential part of cornbread?
No, they're not,
Okay.
because one of my children do not like kidney beans, so they get a plain cornbread.
Okay.
I have another grandchild who does not like kidney beans, so he gets a plain cornbread. And everybody else loves kidney beans, so the more the better.
Okay.
So when you're making your breads, okay, once your beans are incorporated, because I just keep turning and turning until the beans are in the middle of the bread, okay? They're not all on the outside. So there you go, it's incorporated. So now the size of the bread, and I'm just gonna wet my hands because it makes it easier to make your patties.
I feel like a student. I'm just standing on the sideline and
Okay.
watching.
So my guys like individuals. So what I do is make little cornbread.
Cool.
Okay, and other families, yeah, you just wet your hands a little bit. Other families like a full-size bread and just like to section it off. So Chantel, you're gonna put your dough into two, and you're gonna make two big breads. So all it is just manipulating it in your hands, and I like to leave it a little, not flat, but just a little bit of a bump.
So let me try this. Is this too small?
Nope.
So you can make them any size you like?
Any size you, not too small, because what'll happen in the boiling process is they'll fall apart.
Okay. Is
So-
this
So
too
you
small?
like
That's
it
fine.
Like
That's
a
fine.
pillow.
Yeah.
Kinda. This is too flat.
Some people like it like that, I don't.
So you're free to make it whichever
Yes,
kind of
yep.
whichever shape you like.
Yeah. If you're more of a flatter bread, then that's the way you do it. I just like to add a little bit of a bump. And it doesn't, for me, it doesn't fall apart. I find when you make it flat, it'll fall apart.
Try.
So there we go.
How's
We
this?
have,
How's this?
that is
I just love all the
beautiful.
different sizes we have
Okay,
going
so
on
there we go.
That's a big one.
Yep. I'm gonna wash my
So
hands.
just a reminder of why we decided to do this recipe was we really want people to not be afraid, right? Because sometimes it could be a little intimidating, and Trudy just walks us through how to make this so easily.
And this is why I
it
have my
actually
towel.
seems easy to make. What's fun too is that this is an amazing thing to do with your children, your grandkids, because the kids will love mixing, they'll love manipulating
Hands in
the.
there, sing the cornbread song. With
Garata
yes,
rakuwe, dio twe nuni, neze ni gwa gwa gegas. There you go. So when your pot should be boiling hot. And be careful, do not throw it in, place it in, because it will splash. So you're putting the bread in the water and just letting go, okay? Don't throw it, just place and let it drop.
What happens if you have too many cornbreads in your pot?
I've never made it that.
Okay, perfect.
I've never had that problem,
Yeah.
so.
Just wondering if it'll
So you
affect the cooking
Well, I
time
don't know if
or.
they break or if you
No,
keep your water-
you need room in the pot for it to boil and move, because the breads will rise when they're done.
Right.
So I prepared one before this segment, and this baby is done. It is floating on top of the water. When the bread floats, it's done. There's all the breads that we just put in sunk to the bottom. This is, sorry Chantal, this is our completed bread. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of gravy. And Frankie will be our taste
Ooh,
tester.
I'm a taste tester, awesome. And you can be really generous with the gravy. I do love gravy.
Okay, miss.
And you didn't ask me, but I do love kidney beans too, because I maybe would have wanted one without. So,
There you go.
I'm curious about the color too. Is it just that, will it brown more if you leave them longer in the pot, Trudy? Or
No,
is it just,
it
it's a
stays
standard
that color.
Okay.
There's no color change at all. It stays that color.
So let's see, what can you eat cornbread with?
Most people will either eat steak or sausages. I do it with pork chops. The only thing I don't do it with is chicken. I just don't.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to pair well.
Does anyone do it with chicken?
I've never heard it. There may be people out there who do. I don't know. But I love pork chops with cornbread. There's a different
sounds
flavor
good.
in the gravy.
Yeah.
And like I cook with garlic with my pork chops, and it just makes a nice flavor profile. So, Miss Frankie.
Yeah, I just wanted to cut it so that we could show a little bit of the
Yeah, I should have made you an
inside as
individual
well.
one.
You could see that the kidney beans are kind of like, they have a little color to them, and the inside looks like a bread,
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah. So Trudy, now you're waiting for the cornbreads to rise, but is it a simmer or a boil?
No, it's a full rolling boil, and you never ever
leave it
turn
on.
down that water. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very hot, Frankie, so be careful.
Yes, I see that. Oh my God.
Success! And I just want you to know that people think that cornbread has to be made in big batches. It does not. That is an individual bread made with 1/4 of the dry ingredients. So if you do a quarter masa, a quarter cornmeal, a quarter of your oats, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, you can make one individual cornbread.
Amazing.
So, you know, some people are living alone and they just don't think I can make cornbread, I don't have a family, you know, type thing, but there you go. Single serving,
sure.
1/4 cup
I'm
measurement.
curious, can these be frozen and pre-made?
Your cornbreads can be frozen. Yes, it's cooked. Put it in the freezer. When you want to take them out of the freezer, just throw them in a boiling pot of water, and they will
Come back to
they'll
life.
reheat. Yeah, within 10-15 minutes, depending on the size of your bread.
And what about pan frying? Because I think I've seen videos
Well,
where they've been in a nice iron cast
Yeah,
pan.
this is once the bread has been boiled. A lot of times people will take the leftover breads, slice them up, and fry them in the morning and make eggs,
Oh wow.
cornbread, sausage. So that's another way to eat your cornbread. You can have it for supper, lunch, and breakfast.
I definitely
In that
want some.
order.
So just to remind everybody, we are going to be back for the next 4 weeks. We're going to have Trudy joining us, and we hope that you're going to join us just to check out what's the next recipe. And you know, if you have any questions, you could always reach out to me, Frankie M at kscsganawagi.ca. And you know, you never know. We're kind of full group right now, but I do have people on a waiting list. So if you want, you could reach out still. It's never too late. And I have to say, we've been doing this for over 2 years now, and it's, thanks to viewers like you and all the people who have been registered, and to our lovely guests that come out and join us. So thank you, and a huge Nawago for being part of this with us today.
No problem.
And for the next few weeks to come. So we'll be back here next week when we're in our week 2 of What's for Lunch, and see you soon.
And don't forget to send us your photos. We love to see photos of the children participating. This is like a great way to pass on family traditions, pass on culture, get involved with the kids. It's very beneficial to them, and they can make their own little cornbreads and have fun with that.
Just remember that their hands need to be wet, or else it's going to be a much mess. That's the trick to making the cornbread, is to have the wet hands. Make your patties, and then you
now what?
parents drop in the bread into the boiling water.
And wouldn't this be like such an awesome thing to do as well, to pass on tradition, right? Like,
well, see, when I was growing up, we ate cornbread and steak every Sunday, and somewhere along the line that went to the wayside.
Oh, really?
So now people are starting again, getting families together and sitting down to a meal, and this is what they would have, is steak and cornbread or sausage and cornbread. So
Really
getting back to that family supper time, it's important.
it is important.
Yeah.
Sure. And that's another reason why we love this program, because especially that we do these recorded videos. They're going to be out there. If you guys want to go and check out old videos we've done in the past, we have a whole bunch of them that are saved on the KSCS Facebook page, and we've made so many great and interesting recipes, things that maybe some people have been afraid of, stuff like this, that they're like, oh, I want to, but I'm not sure. So you know what, it's okay to just try it out, sample and retry and keep practicing it, because I think this is like you need to do this more than once to master it. And Trudy, we know, has been doing it for a long time, so
I don't know if it's that hard. I think once you get adding the water is the trick.
It's the key.
Just having the right amount of water, not too dry, not too wet, and
You gotta have it
I just peeked in. We're not ready to.
So, Frankie, maybe I could share some thoughts about picky eaters, since you mentioned you have a few family members who don't like kidney beans and you omit them. So fair enough, that's how you manage it. But I'm just going to offer a few other thoughts, So children, obviously all humans, but like to be in control, right? So the kid doesn't want you to say you have to eat the kidney beans, but if they're participating here, you could say, and they don't want kidney beans, for example, you could say, how about if you hide one kidney bean in your cornbread? And let's see if you could find it later. And then that way they're in control, and they could choose to hide 1 or 2 or 3 or none. And then when they find it, they could choose to eat it or not to eat it. So that's just a way where you help the children warm up to ingredients that they might be hesitating with, without putting pressure on them. You just kind of play around with it, and then it either works or it doesn't. If they don't want to eat it, let them be, don't force them. But anyways, just some thoughts.
That's a great
allowing them to take them out is gives them more of an opportunity to get used to it, as opposed to just not giving it to them.
I think it's a great trick, and I want to just share as well that I did get feedback from some of the participants who have been part of the program over the past 2 years, and they mentioned that having their children be part of creating the recipe has really opened up their palate to actually want to try what it is that they're making. So, we're encouraging that as well by having families do this together. And even if it's just a bite, it's getting them to actually taste something that might be a little bit scary if they weren't part of seeing the process of making it. So there's a few suggestions. So you know what, don't force your children, even if it's just they're part of mixing up a few things or whatever, but obviously there's little tricks like
kids can easily mix the dry ingredients. They can, mom or dad is in charge, or the adult present is in charge of the boiling water, but then they can pour in the kidney beans and
mix it
somebody stirs, and they can actually make the patty. So there's ways of incorporating a child, like even a little one, 2 years old. It's easy for them to, especially if you do the pre-measuring.
Yes.
Have the child pour in the ingredients. They're part of the process.
Yeah.
They love that.
Yeah.
I know my grandchildren did. They're like,
sure.
Ma, can I put it in? Sure. Ma, can I stir? Sure. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
And they're more willing to, when they're part of the process, to say, where's my cornbread?
Yeah.
Here's your cornbread that you made. So enjoy,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So were we going to wait to see the water boil in the last
Oh, they're starting to pop up.
So see, it didn't even take that long in the matter of the time that we've been just talking a little bit.
Oh,
They're
I'll
actually,
get another plate. That's fine.
They're starting to surface.
So we have one of the babies coming up.
Little cornbread.
We just have one that's ready. The rest are midway, and there you go.
So it's a really quick process.
It's a quick process.
So you made this easy, Trudy. Again, thank you for joining us.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
We'll see you soon. We'll be back here next week.
Now we're Trudy. Anna.
Anna.
Hola.